when they said that Texas was going to suffer huge casualties, that a lot of people are going to die because Governor Greg Abbott opened it up 100%, no more lockdowns, no more masks. A lot of people laughed. A lot of people laughed because they knew that they were just saying this because their political side told them to, effectively. They were fooled into believing that COVID was actually this very super deadly virus that it kills everything it touches. It doesn't matter who you are. It's this great equalizer. However, many of us who actually followed the science, including our leadership, knew that opening up Texas would do no such thing. Regardless of all the numbers and all the facts that we had, you still had many on the left predicting that a lot of people were going to wind up dead. The hospitals were going to overflow. You had Beto O'Rourke calling the GOP a death cult. A lot of hyperbolic stuff being said. A lot of dramatization. But now, thanks to the graphs that have come out, we can see that Texas made the right call by opening up. And you'll notice that there are a lot of people out there who were once shouting that we're all going to die, who are super quiet now. But real fast, let's go through this. This is posted by Will Franklin. You'll notice that there are a lot of graphs here that kind of detail everything from the cases per day, hospital beds filled, even down to the death rates. Let's take a look at some of these. These Texas new cases per day, lowest 7-day average since May 30th in 2020. Now, this will be a constant pattern. It's high up here. It almost gets down to nothing down here. In almost every single graph, this is the new cases per day, down 59.8 from March 10th to May 21st today. Down 73.4 from March 2nd to May 21st. Down 94.6 from January 17th, peak to May 21st. The next one, Texas hospital patients. Again, you're seeing the same exact thing. Down 53.6 from March 10th to May 20th. Down 63.2 from March 2nd to May 20th. Down 84.5 from January 17th peak to May 20th. Again, let's go to the next one. Texas ICU patients. Boom, down 49.8%. Down 80.2%. The next one, Texas daily COVID death rates. This is the open Texas 100% open in March 10th. You'll notice 94 a day. All the way down to nothing. Nothing. No deaths. This is the exact opposite of what they predicted would happen if Texas opened. The reported number of Texans testing positive for COVID-19 has plummeted in recent weeks. We've also seen a precipitous decline in Texas hospital patients who also happen to test positive for COVID-19. 15 days to slow the spread rationale. Must protect the hospitals. Okay, only 3.17% of Texas hospital beds have someone who also happened to test positive for COVID-19. Lowest since May 30th in 2020. Only 4.21% of Texans hospital patients also happen to test positive for COVID. Lowest since May 22nd, 2020. You'll notice this pattern. It's a pattern that actually happens in a lot of states. Next to nothing happening now as far as COVID. As far as COVID is concerned here in Texas, it's more or less done. It's over. People are now walking around without masks. I can personally attest to that. In stores that previously required them. I even walked into a Starbucks yesterday without one just to see what would happen if anyone raised any objections, and no one did. No one cared. A lot of people are just done with masks here in Texas. Now, here's the thing that needs to be focused on aside from these numbers, which prove the left wrong. One of the things that is constantly pushed into our society, into our brains as Americans, is that the left is the party of science, that the media knows better than you do somehow. A lot of these people who predicted that we were all going to die are wrong. They're just flat out wrong. There's no way around it. They were 110% wrong, and you have to wonder why. They told us that this was going to happen despite the fact that we had seen in the past that opening up does not make either A, a change, or B, it actually improves the situation. The science also said that, most people who are confined to small spaces are more likely to get the virus. And sure enough, that proved correct. The states with the most draconian lockdowns were the ones that were the worst off. You had New York and California beating out all the other states. With California, if you were to put Texas and Florida's cases together, they still wouldn't equal out to the number of infections in California. It seemed to me that much of this was done against the science. It was done against better judgment. So why? Why was it done? Well, it was most likely done because they knew that it gave them power. It allowed them to keep power. And that is really the focus for the Democratic Party here. They don't really care about you or your business, your livelihood, the health of your family. What they care about is that they can pretty much seize power and reign by fiat. You see that constantly. You had in Michigan, you had them not allowing people to do gardening in their own home. Why? It makes no sense. You couldn't travel from one property to another property that you owned within the state. Why? What was the point? They say it was to restrict COVID from going from one spot to another. But if you notice in Florida, for instance, and Florida being one of the best examples that there was, the freer people got, the less that COVID actually affected them. And their economy is far healthier. Far less unemployment in those states. Texas, when it 100% opened, our unemployment rate went down. So it seems to me that there really is no reason to keep any lockdowns. Now, on top of that, you have to consider the fact that many on the left, despite the fact that the science changed on them, that the CDC came out and said that we don't want, that vaccinated people don't need to wear masks anymore, you had, and still have, Nancy Pelosi enforcing a mask mandate on the House floor against the science. Why? It's almost as if the Democrats do not want people to think that just because they have a vaccine that they're free from COVID, that they're free from COVID. That makes absolutely no sense unless you actually look at it through a lens of political control. And that's the point I really think needs to be made here. Whenever you hear them talk about the science, whenever you hear them say matter-of-factly that they are the party of facts, you know for a fact that they're not. That they have some sort of agenda behind their claims, behind what they say on television to you. You know, there's something going on back there that makes them liars, for lack of a better word. They are liars. And that's something that we need to remember going forward. They have an agenda. They're not out making sure that you're doing well. They're not out there to see to it that, you don't have to rely on them for anything. They want you to rely on them for everything. This is why they continue to lock people down and promise them checks. It's much easier to control somebody when you control their flow of money. It's sad that it's gotten to that point, but this is what it is. From here on out, many people should be demanding that their states go 100% open, that the mask mandates are dropped. And they need to call out their elected officials who refuse to embrace the science. Make them understand, hey, we know better now. We have the proof. Texas is the proof right here that opening 100% doesn't hurt anyone. In fact, it helps everyone. Not just against COVID, but it helps their economy. It helps them get jobs. It helps them stay afloat. It helps them not have to be reliant on the government. And if they refuse, even at that point, to lift anything, you'll know whose side they're really on, and it's not yours. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you're made aware when we upload new content. See you in the next video.